Have you ever tried to explain to someone why you love a particular video game only to realize while you're actually explaining it that the more you talk, the more you sound like the villain from a Quentin Tarantino movie? Well, that's definitely the case for both of our entries today. One game from the makers of Earthworm Jim lets you torture your enemies in completely outlandish ways. The other, a spy thriller from RPG greats Obsidian, that lets you manipulate not only your enemies, but also your allies. So which do you prefer, a wrecking ball of chaos or a manipulator of men? Either way, you can't go wrong with these entries. We are Hardcore Casual, and this is the Casualty List. If anybody knows this one, I will be surprised. You have let me know in the comments, and I will give you my I don't know, kudos. I'll give you fake internet points for it because this is crazy. I have ran into one person that knew this game whenever I brought it up, and that person was Cliff Blazinski. So I got the opportunity to talk to
Cliffy B.
Cliffy B. I was like, and I asked him.
Gears of War, man.
Yeah, exactly. The creator of Gears of War. I asked him. I was like, I feel like I'm being like gaslit that this game didn't exist. Have you heard of this game? And he was like, oh yeah. And he knew. He said like, oh yeah, this was the game designer. Da 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 da. And it was Shiny Entertainment that made this game. But that game is Wild 9.
Give me my internet points.
You have them, sir. 1,000 fake internet points for you.
Wild 9. Absolutely.
So this was the OG PlayStation. And I remember I was a little kid, and the way that I found out that this game was a thing was I still don't know why I got this. I don't know how I ended up on the mail list, but I got a package that was addressed to me. And being a child, that doesn't happen often. And of course, when you're a child and you get mail and it's for you, you get excited. It's just like thing. So I open it up. It was like I've seen many horror stories that start this way, where you get a package, it's got your name on it, you open it up, and there's a VHS tape, and it's like, okay. Yeah, it's like this is not good. But what it was essentially like 20 to 30 minute like mini documentary about the making of Wild 9. And
Holy crap.
I wish I still had that VHS. I wish I knew where it was.
I'll let you go, but I wanted to tell you the way I came into this was I subscribed to a magazine called, and yeah, magazines, get over it, whoever's watching this, that's like
print media.
Electronic Gaming Monthly. We called it EGM.
EG Monthly, yeah.
All the cool kids called it EGM, but it came with a demo disc every month, and every issue had a demo disc, and one of the demos was Wild 9, and then I ended up getting the game.
So yeah, I watched that, this little VHS tape that talked about this game. It was, like I said, it was Shiny Entertainment, and they were a big deal back in the day. And I was like, okay, cool. So when it came out, I got it. And one thing that I had never seen a game do this at that time before, like I said, this is OG PlayStation, was the rig. So that was the thing that was so unique about this game. And so it's a side scroller. You can obviously look at we'll call it graphical fidelity that we're working with here. It was a side scroller, and I don't even remember your guy's name, but I remember that the weapon was called the rig, but he had this biomechanical thing, and it would shoot out. And that's what this thing here is on this image, is this beam that it shoots out, and you could grab enemies with it. Okay, that doesn't seem so crazy, but since it's a side scroller, one of the things that you see at any side scroller, Crash Bandicoot or anything like that, is you have to jump over environmental hazards. There'd be these like spinning grinder wheels or falling hammers. Well, with the rig, since you could grab these enemies, you could do a few things. Once you grab them, you could slam them back and forth like, Hulk, whenever he grabbed Loki by the ankles, puny god, that whole thing. You could do that if you wanted to, and you could get stuff that way. Or you could just carry them and take them to one of these environmental hazards. Like, okay, you got the little spinning spikes. Okay, drop them in there. Boom. You get this animation of alien blood splatter or whatever. Or you take them over to the hammer, let the hammer come down on them. And you could just take them through this level and torment these characters. Absolutely torture them with the threats that you had just evaded. And I loved it. I replayed this game so many times just because that was so fun and cathartic to just like go through there and then take these characters and just throw them into all these, try to find all the different things that would actually interact with the characters, find all the things that you could use to dish out pain and death to these characters. Sounds very demented, but it was a good time.
Yeah, it was yeah. I
Go
actually
for it.
enjoyed the game very much.
You did. So you like, and then they did have something that was it was very, it was like Earthworm Jim did a lot where they would have these races that you'd have to go to every once in a while for these levels where you would be like chasing somebody. But
Well, this was made by the same guys that made Earthworm
yeah,
Jim,
so I mean
so,
the DNA was there. Yeah, the shiny made Earthworm Jim, and so this felt very much like Earthworm Jim in that it was very cartoony, very irreverent, obviously. But it was fun. I loved it. It's been one of my favorite games since I was a kid. And yeah, anytime I'd ask anybody like if they had played it, everybody's like, "Nope, don't know what you're talking about. You're making that up." And but I'm not. I didn't. It's Wild 9. It's this, and I still love it. That game mechanic was so satisfying. It's the first time I ever experienced anything like that. And yeah, it should have been more. So that was Wild 9, and honestly, how many of you out there had actually heard of it? If you did, let me know in the comments and I will tell you how many fake internet points I'll award you. And remember to like and subscribe and leave us a comment. Let us know if there are any other games that you'd like us to cover. We're going to be covering more, and we're going to be covering them more thoroughly going forward. Back to the list and tonight's main event.
But my number one game tonight, because I love spy movies and heist movies. We've talked about this a million times. And I love RPGs, and seldom does those two things cross each other. And I mean pure RPG. Like if you took an Elder Scrolls game and made a spy RPG, what would it look like? Because we had Splinter Cell, and Splinter Cell's great. I love Splinter Cell. I love Siphon Filter.
But an RPG, it is not.
Neither one of those are RPGs where in the truest sense, where you start off and you suck. You don't necessarily hit all the things you're trying to do, and you've got to level up points and skill trees to get to those points. But this game, Alpha Protocol, gave you that. It was the first chance. Did it have bugs? Yes, it did. But
I gotta say, even just looking at this, and I'll be honest with you guys, I am not familiar with this game. Whenever Jay told me about this game, I had not heard of it before. But even just look, this poster would psych me up because the first thing I see when I look at this poster is your weapon is choice. I'm like, oh, that got me. I want that.
Yeah, yeah. And the cool thing is, like, you can be the suave James Bond type when you're talking to like a girl, or you could try to be, professional, stone-faced killer, and it will have a different effect. And this game legitimately has an infinite number of endings. That's one of the things it purports, is that it has an infinite number of endings.
Now I'm
Because
very intrigued.
so you've got like 4 or 5 countries you go to, but you can literally go to a country, do one mission in that country, and then go to one of the other countries instead of doing it all the way out in one country. And when you do that, it changes the entire game. You play an agent named Michael Thornton. When you first start, you can pick like 4 different like class types, or you can pick what's called a freelancer, where it's basically a build your own. And then you have to pick recruit or veteran, but veteran is locked at the beginning. So you have to go recruit. But once you beat the game as a recruit, you can go back through as a veteran, and it changes the entire game.
See, I love those whenever the end of the game is really only half the way through.
Right.
Whenever you're
Yeah,
like, okay, now I got to play through another time to really understand what's going on. Like, I love it. I love it when they do that.
The recruit playthrough is a straight up, basically a tutorial. When you go back through as a veteran, and like you go back to the very first mission, you're like, oh my God, you're like just popping guys, and you're a vet. All the conversations have different options now because you're a veteran, and the people you're interacting with know that. They can sense that. People can sense confidence or lack of. And
so it's really like it's another RPG element where like whenever you go through and it's like, oh,
yes.
it's this, and people will respond to you differently because of your race or your background or whatever. In an RPG, they respond to you differently because you're a veteran as opposed to a rookie.
Yeah, and if that didn't sell you on it, the makers of this game was Obsidian. the guys that did Fallout New Vegas and have done hit after mega hit after mega hit.
Outer Lands, is that
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah.
That they're working on a sequel to, which looks like it's gonna be great. Yeah,
Yeah.
Obsidian's they're great.
So, it was one of those games that came out in 2010, and unfortunately it came out, and I sent you that list yesterday. It was ungodly. It came out with Mass Effect 2 and God of War 3, and it had no chance.
Which means, since it came out amongst all those, it means that unfortunately I helped bury this game.
Yeah. Yeah. I was one of the
because it was
yeah.
Mass Effect 2. I was all over Mass Effect 2.
I walked into back then GameStop wasn't even GameStop, it was Electronics Boutique. I walked into Electronics Boutique and they're like, "Hey man, what do you like?" And I'm like, "RPGs." And they're like, "Dude, do you like spies?" And I'm like, "I love spies." And somebody talked me into buying this and I bought it. And yeah, dude, it was one of the most difficult playthroughs I've ever done in my life, even on default difficulty.
I mean, since Obsidian is still around and they're still making bangers and they still know what they're doing, it's not like, BioWare, where it's like, yeah, there is a company called BioWare, but that spirit, that energy just ain't there anymore. It's a shell. Obsidian's not that way. Obsidian's still got these people that are on the cutting edge. They know what they're doing. They love what they do. Have they even hinted or mentioned this game?
No, they have not. But I'll tell you, if you go into the comments on the Steam page for this game, you'll never see more comments that say there's never been a game that's in more need of a reboot than this one.
Would love that,
people,
man.
The people that love this game. And here's just a screenshot from the game. But you play an agent named Michael Thornton, and you're young and you're brash, and you start off trying to be a smart ass, but basically the game will humble you down as you play. And you meet so many different people, and you're trying to schmooze them, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're just trying to take them out. So it lets you play in so many different angles. You have safe houses in all the locations you go to. You've got a handler that you can either decide to protect at the end, because it turns out that your organization may or may not be corrupt and you don't know. And it really plays on your naivety. You know what I mean? So it's one of the things where you have to start trying to piece together what you think the facts are.
Well,
it will spin that on your head a couple of times. But dude, unbelievable.
I would take vacation days to play a game like this these days, man. Like
and I got to tell you, you could probably run it on your laptop, because it's old.
Well, I would like to see it nowadays. So I'd like to see like an updated version, like where we have like the graphical, power and all that stuff. Like I would love to see Obsidian do this again, because you mentioned this, like where this had never been seen before. I don't think it's ever been seen since. I've not seen any sort of espionage RPG.
That's why it's my cornerstone game for tonight is Unsung Heroes, because not only is it unsung, it's still unsung. It's still never been done. Besides this. So
yeah, I would love that, dude, because like you said, the old sort of, because there was a time where the espionage game was kind of in its heyday. We had Splinter Cell and Siphon Filter and all those which Siphon Filter, I would love to see another Siphon Filter. And again, guys, if we could make that happen. But there was a time where there was all these games, but they all played differently. There's all espionage, but there was never an RPG. So you had to have an espionage thriller RPG where you're basically playing through an action game, which we get a lot, where like Metal Gear Solid or something like that, where you're playing the action sequences of the action game, but where you're actually the driving narrative force of that action game. To have both of those things, man, that would be incredible. I would love that.
Yeah, because I mean, you're basically building yourself up the way you want to be. And the funny thing is, like, if you decide, hey, I want to be the wisecracking gun guy, that's great. You can do that. You're going to suffer, though, in other areas where wisecracking gun guy doesn't work. And they're going to make you feel it. I know I
got to change your approach from situation to situation.
And I know I sent you a couple of videos, but you can literally go on YouTube and look up Alpha Protocol, the movie. And it will basically be a no commentary playing it out as a movie, which is cool. But I would actually tell you, pay the $15, download it on Steam, and try it out on your. You can play it with an Xbox controller and try it out, because it is freaking phenomenal.
So speaking of, like, if you go through and do the movie
Yeah.
aspect of it, how long was a playthrough? How many hours would it take to do a complete
Jesus,
playthrough?
Dude. It was, if you just did the story, I'd say probably 35 or 40 hours. If you were trying to be a completionist and get all the upgrades for your
Probably knocking on
weapons,
60.
Yeah, probably 60, maybe 70. And then of course you're going to want to do another playthrough and see what it was like from the other angles. Brother, I'm telling you, you could drive to the house, just set a date, and drive to the house. I'll just sit here and eat Doritos, and you can play through it on my computer. I don't give a shit. But it is that worth it, that I would just say, hey man, come over and play. I'll go do something else. Do what you want.
Well, I will say the graphics for the time frame that you were giving, judging by this one screenshot, but it looks like it's held up better than I would have expected.
Oh yeah, and it has. When I loaded it up from my Steam library last night, it actually even offered ultra wide as a resolution, which I could not believe.
Yeah,
and that's without mods. There's like 11 mods for this game, which is just an abysmal number of mods. But there's a reshader that gives it like an upgraded graphics package. You're not going to make it look like it came out yesterday.
Yeah, it's not going to look like Metal Gear Solid 5.
But looking at this screenshot, to me, that's playable.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Is it looks like it holds up way more than I would have expected it to look.
Yeah. And so you have this, and they're not showing it in this screenshot, but there's this reticle when you're firing your pistol, and you can fire as soon as you put your crosshairs. But in true RPG fashion, it's not just a crosshair, it's a round. And if you wait till it circles all the way in and turns fully red, then it'll be a definite kill shot. But you don't always have that kind of time. But the more you level up, that thing will go quicker. Like as soon as you put it up, it'll go in. And and then there's very Jason Bourne like melee in it, which I thought was cool addition to it as well. But if you're not leveled up, man, you'll start that like knife move and and the guy will be like bullshit and fucking elbow you in the face and take you out before you even get started. And you're like, damn it. And then it's like reload, start over. But anyway, just a phenomenal game. And I wanted this to be my capstone one for tonight, because it's one of if you gave me my top 5 games of all times that I would like everybody to play, this is going to be number one. I mean, number one. And that's saying a lot, because I've played a lot of games, but this would definitely be up there.
And that is episode 3 of the Casualty List. I just wanted to take this time to personally thank you for watching through to the end of the video. It means the world to us. We're a young channel. We're still growing. We're still improving things. YouTube's still trying to figure out who our audience is and who to serve us up to. So every time you like, every time you comment, every time you watch through to the end of the video, every time you share a link, it all matters. It all helps us grow, and it all makes us better. So thank you so much. This is Hardcore Casual, and so are you.